Hi, welcome to Sue Marie P. My name's Sue and I'd like to share a soft spelt baguette bread roll recipe today. It makes 3 to 4 baguettes. It was a request from one of my viewers. Thank you for reaching out and requesting this. And it's got simple ingredients. I'm using white spelt flour. We've got some warm water, salt, dried yeast or fast active yeast, a little bit of sugar and some olive oil. So I'm going to do it in my stand mixer today, but it would work if you just wanted to do it in a large bowl by hand. So I'm going to pop all the flour in. This is 350 grams of white spelt flour, and I'll pop ounces above for any of my viewers that need ounces. And in there I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of salt, a teaspoon of sugar, and a teaspoon of yeast. If you need to activate the yeast before, like if it's I think it's called active yeast, just pop it in the warm water for about 10 minutes so it's bubbly before you mix it. But the one I'm using, you don't need to do that. And I'm going to pop in all the warm water. That's 200 mils. That was just lukewarm to touch. And the olive oil. But I'm going to start mixing it and add the olive oil as I'm mixing it. So I've just got my dough hook on the stand mixer. So I'm going to add in 2 tablespoons of olive oil. I first started testing this recipe as a version of my very popular spelt bread roll, and the dough was enriched with an egg, which you can add an egg if you like, and then you can use some of the egg as an egg wash. But I also tested it without, and I found that it was just as good without. So this recipe I'm sharing is egg-free. But what I was going to say was, if you add the egg, you may need to add a little bit more flour, maybe like, I don't know, 1/4 cup or, 20 grams or 30 grams. But again, just check it with your eye. Let's just have a look at it. And with most of my spelt recipes, you don't need to mix or knead the dough as long as regular flour. So we'll give it, it's only maximum about 5 minutes. I'll give it another few more minutes. Now the dough is really smooth and my bowl is really clean. So I'm going to transfer it into another bowl. I've got a medium-sized Pyrex bowl. Just going to drizzle a little bit of olive oil in there. I mix it with my hands and then I'll use my oiled hands to remove the dough. Now the dough is a bit sticky and a little bit moist, but I prefer it that way, and then we can add a little bit more flour when we're mixing it around. I probably added a little bit too much oil today. So to cover it, I prefer plastic. I know it's not very good for the environment. We get a sealed, nice sealed cover, and it helps create humidity within the bowl. So I'm going to rest that for 30 minutes and then come back. So we're back with our dough. And we're not really looking for it to double in size or anything like other recipes. And add some flour to your bench top. This is rice flour in my little shaker. I prefer to use rice flour. And I'm going to scoop it out onto my floured bench. And I've found that dividing it into 4 works best, because you need to make sure that the baguettes are actually going to fit on the tray that you are baking them with. So let's be accurate. I'll get my scales out and let's weigh our dough. So I just grab a little side plate, pop it on the scales, add a little bit of flour to that, make sure the scales are 0. Add the dough. So that's 585. Hey Siri, what's 585 divided by 4? She's not listening to me. Okay, old school. I'm going to do that with the calculator. 585 divided by 4. 146 approximately. So we just skip that back off. It's 154. 145. 146. 150. Okay, they're almost exact. We won't be too fussed. So to shape it into a ball, I just flatten it slightly and then bring it into the center like I'm doing my rolls. Now, I don't mind working with quite a loose dough, but if you feel it's too loose, just add a little bit more flour as you're kneading it or shaping it on the bench here. Just stretch and pull it into the centre. Add a little bit more flour if you like, just make it easier. I'm just going to cover them for 10 minutes with a cloth just to relax, and then we'll come back and shape our baguettes. So grab a rolling pin and just dust it. This is kind of a non-stick one, so it's pretty good. Just need to move these to one side, just flour the bench. I'm going to roll one at a time. Make sure you have your baking tray ready. I've just popped it with paper today. I also use silicone mats, but they're looking a little bit dirty, so I thought it'd be better for photographs to use the nice paper. So I'm just rolling it out to release any air bubbles. Look, I'm not perfect at making the form, but I thought I'd share it with you. Just fold over half towards you, and then just press it down, and then just fold the other half, press it down, and then just repeat it until you've got almost a cylinder. And then make sure the seam's on the bottom, and then just start rolling. A bit more flour. My dough's very sticky today. We've got a lot of humid weather here, so sometimes humidity and the weather can affect your baking. We're trying to get kind of an elongated cylinder. And just make the ends tapered. I think that's all I'm going to get out of that baguette today. Oh, a bit longer. My dough became a bit soft. Okay. Let's pop it on the tray behind me. Now, with baking, if you're a novice like me and you haven't made baguettes before, and I'm not a master by any means, I always think give it a go. It doesn't matter if they don't look quite professional. It's more about the taste than the form. Okay, I'm just squeezing that at the end. Make sure the seam's on the bottom. Pop it on my tray. That one was a bit longer. They're my baguette rolls. They're quite skinny today. I probably could have done 3 and made them fatter, but let's leave it at that. I'm going to cover them and rest them for 30 minutes. Before the 30 minutes is up, I'm going to pop my oven on 10 minutes before and preheat it at 200 degrees C fan, which is 400 Fahrenheit. If you didn't quite catch me before, I'm going to preheat my oven in about 20 minutes time at 200 degrees C, which is fan forced, or 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Our rolls are ready to bake. So at this stage, you can brush them with an egg wash or an egg white, a little bit of oil, but what I like to do is just do a little bit of water. So I'm just going to brush the tops with water. I don't mind if there's no shine to my bread. And I've noticed that they're not perfect today, but I'm sure they'll bake fine. And then grab, this is a little razor blade on the stem. Just quickly cut them across the top, or use a sharp knife. I think it's called a bread lathe. I've been preheating my oven at 200 or 400 Fahrenheit. It's ready to go. What I do at the base, I pop this ramekin of cold water in the base and bake them for 20 minutes. I'm going to slide this tray in the middle as well. Can't wait to show you. So I'm back with my rolls and they're all cooked and they've been cooling for about 20 minutes. I've been taking photographs and everything, and I've chopped one open. So check that out. It's kind of light and moist and fluffy. I'm going to taste one because I'm hungry and it's past my lunchtime. So I'm going to add a little bit of butter, break it off. Can you see that? Still soft on the outside. A really tasty bread roll, or a baguette rather. A tasty baguette, not too crunchy. You might like crunchy bread rolls or baguettes, but I like them soft so I can bite into them. Hope you've enjoyed watching this video today. Don't forget, pop a comment below if you give this recipe a go. Hit the thumbs up, share it with a friend. Don't forget subscribe if you're new here today. And stick around. I'll pop a few other spelt bread recipe ideas up above. Thanks for watching. Yum, yum, yum.